This is a big crane. It's the Liebherr LTM 1750. But the size of the box tells you this model is in a small scale and it's in 1:87. It is a limited edition made by WSI Models and it's in the colours of BMS, which is a Danish crane hire company. The model is contained between a pair of factory sealed plastic formers, and when we separate those, out come the parts. Well, there ain't much assembly to do to get the crane ready for the road. All that's needed is to press in a couple of plastic door mirrors. Looking underneath, and the model is very simple, and the chassis is basically a plastic base plate. Right side up, things are much better and the cab is very detailed, and that includes graphics and a door handle on the door, and all of the BMS graphics on the crane are very sharp. The wheels on the model are all of the same design, which is a compromise compared to the real crane, but there are some nice tiny details, including the highlighting of lights along the side, and looking at the boom head, there's one proper pulley at the top and a solid bank of pulleys at the bottom. The area behind the cab is metal and it's a nice casting with good details, and there's an exhaust pipe too. The cab is plastic and it's detailed, but there's no handrails around the platform. At the back, the counterweight tray has nice graphics and the counterweight blocks look very good. There is one working telescope section and it's plastic. The metal hook block is also a compromise and it can only use one fall of rope. The first big compromise on the chassis is that there's no steering, but the axles do roll very freely. So if you want, there's no problem zooming the crane along, as long as it's in a straight line. Get out. It's time to get out the outriggers. They are plastic and simplified, and you pull them out and push them down. One neat feature which is replicated is the crane cab, which can move from a transport position to a working position. And you can clip it into place and raise it up, but you can't tilt it. We need to attach the hook, so to begin with we have to take some rope off of the winch drum. And a key is included, and you use that to turn the winch drum. Once you've pulled out enough, it's run over the boom head, and here you can see that the hook block is simply tied on. Next we use our fingers to raise the boom, and the hydraulic rams on the review model are nice and stiff, so it will hold any pose that you set. With our boom up, we can then replicate self-ballasting, and to do that we can place the counterweight tray on the carrier deck, and then load up the two blocks of counterweights. So that gives us an interesting pose of the erection in progress. But if we actually want our crane to be lifting something, we need to mount the counterweight properly. And to do that we need to use the giant hand crane to hook it over onto the back of the crane. And then we need to use a giant pinning machine to insert the steel pin that connects the counterweight and crane body together. With that done, the crane is ready to work, so we can try rotating it. And it does turn well, but one thing you have to watch out for is that the cab is high enough to ride over the top of the outrigger beams. The model has one telescopic section and that easily pulls out and locks in place at full extension. So let's put our crane to work, and we'll put it on tower crane erection duty. And the first thing to do is to add on a tower section and then lift it up using the winch. And this kind of lift makes an interesting pose for the model. We are in small scale, but let's see how tall the model is by doing a dim check. And with the tape out we see that it's about 1 foot or 30 centimeters high. This is a good looking model by WSI, and the green and white colour scheme of BMS is particularly attractive. It's in a small scale, so there's limited detailing and functionality, but then it's relatively inexpensive and it would fit well on a model railway layout of the same scale. For the price, it's very good.